Hi, today I'm doing something really fun and you will already have seen it from the title. I am going to interview Saoirse Ronan, who, as you will probably know, is my favourite actress. Don't know how this happened, but I'm very excited. It's for the film adaptation of this book, On Chesil Beach, by Ian McEwan. I read the book 2 weeks ago, then I went to see the film, cried quite a bit, and now I think I'm ready. So in case you haven't heard of this book before, it's about a young couple in the 1960s. They met each other, they fell in love, and then they got married. And now it's their wedding night and they've gone to Chesil Beach. Edward is very excited. Florence is apprehensive and scared, and the evening unfolds in a certain way. Well, you read the book and you see the film, it kind of goes between that night and the times that they met and they got to know each other and how they fell in love. It is a beautifully written book, and the film as well is so gorgeous. It goes between these really lovely moments and then a lot of kind of sad and angry scenes as well. And I'm really excited to get to talk to Saoirse. I'm very nervous. I have only done 1 or 2 press junkets before and they're always absolutely nerve-wracking, but I've got my red lipstick on, I've got my questions ready. So let's go. Alright, it is now a couple of days later. The interview is over. I've done it, but before you get to see it, I just wanted to give a quick introduction to that. It was actually only a 1-camera setup. So it means that you can see part of the back of my head as I sit down, and that's about it. So I am just going to talk you through the questions I asked and then insert some of her lovely answers in here. The very first thing I did was ask if she could say hoi, which is how I start all my videos, which in case you don't know is the Dutch word for hello, and she kindly obliged.
Hoi!
Perfect. I was there to talk about Chesil Beach, but the evening before I spotted that she had gone to see Hamilton, and as a massive Hamilton fan, I couldn't resist asking her about that as well.
Did you go see Hamilton yesterday? Is that what I saw?
I did.
How was it? Did you love it?
Yeah, it was great. It was my second time seeing it, and the first time I had seen it in New York with Lin-Manuel. So it was really brilliant to see the original cast and to see the London cast. They're so brilliant.
They're fantastic.
They're so good, and they bring so much character to it as well. Like all of their accents were brilliant, and yeah, just it was a great show.
So after that, it was time to talk a little bit more about On Chesil Beach, both the film and the book, and she has been in a ton of book to film adaptations. She was in Atonement by the same author about 10 years ago. She was in The Host, Brooklyn, How I Live Now, which is an amazing YA book.
Do you feel like you kind of approach a film differently if it's a book to film adaptation? Do you go about it differently?
I think the only time I've approached it differently initially is when I've read the book first. And when I was younger, a lot of the films that I was in that had been adapted from a book, I didn't read them because they had quite an adult subject matter.
Right.
So with things like Atonement and even The Lovely Bones, I didn't read them beforehand. The Host I did because it's so massive. There's so much information in it. But I found that okay, and I didn't feel like I was compromised in any way. And then I've tried to do projects where I've read the book beforehand, and actually it can be great, and it's great to sort of have a reference point, but you can get so in your head about what's in the book versus what's in the script, and
right,
as in
two
the same
things.
way that like readers would when they go see a film version. So yeah, I mean with this, I did read the book before we started, and I could feel myself starting to do that a little bit. But having Ian do the adaptation, do the screenplay really helped. Because he just had the license to change things and take things out, and that was great. Yeah.
So in the process, did you get to chat to Ian a lot as well about it, or
yeah, we rehearsed together for about a week. So myself, Billy, who plays Edward, and Dom, the director, and Ian, we just sort of sat down, worked through the beach scene in particular, because it's so long. It's like a 12-page scene. And then all the stuff in the B&B as well, because they're sort of like the anchors, you know,
right.
That's the foundation of the whole film. So that's where we needed to really do the work. And it was great having him there, you know. And very, you know, sometimes writers, rightly so, can be very protective over their work, but he is such a collaborator and was so relaxed about the whole thing, and really encouraged us to help him figure out how we were going to shape
Yeah,
the
definitely.
scenes, you know.
Because obviously, yeah, things do change a little bit.
Yeah, and they
no,
have
that's great.
to as well, because, you know, with a different medium like that, you're telling a story in a different way.
Because you had been asking since I announced that I was doing this interview, I asked her for some book recommendations.
So when I told people I was going to be chatting to you, the main question they had as well was if you could give some book recommendations about things that you love reading or things that you recommend to your friends.
Oh, I read this brilliant book actually called Tiny Beautiful Things. Have you read that?
No, I haven't.
It's by Cheryl, what's Cheryl's last name? Anyway, she wrote Wild.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cheryl Strayed?
Yeah, Cheryl Strayed. That's really, really brilliant. I read that recently. I'm reading The Female Persuasion now. I've only just started that. I just read a brilliant book that my friend recommended to me called We Gon' Be Alright, like the Kendrick Lamar song. And it's brilliant. It's about like resegregation in the States and stuff. And I found that really interesting. And it's only a tiny, tiny little book. But yeah, that's what I read recently.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
As quickly as that, the interview was over. That was it. Basically a bit of a bucket list tick for me, but just a really nice experience to get to see her. I know it's so quick, but I was really, really happy that I got a chance to chat with her. I'm really curious if any of you have read On Chesil Beach before, and if you're planning on seeing the film. I really, really enjoyed the book. I thought it was beautifully written, really interesting, and the film itself was gorgeous as well. If I'd had the time to ask more questions, some of the things on my list were taboo topics, so the fact that it's set in the 1960s and they didn't really talk about sex, and also the music in the film plays such a big part. There's all this beautiful, I guess, like string quartet music throughout the film, and the sound of it is really interesting as well. There's lots of like loud cutlery noises during dinners, kind of to enhance the awkwardness of certain situations. Anyways, I think you should all go see it. Maybe read the book beforehand if you have the time, but definitely go to the cinema. On Chesil Beach is out in UK cinemas on May 18th. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed following me around on this adventure and that you enjoyed the interview as well. I'll see you soon, and all there is left to say is...
Dewey.
Perfect. Thank you so much.